So here we can take a closer look at some of our light sources. We have our red and our green light, obviously. And as you can see, I brought my oven mitts again because, just as a reminder, these are right now very hot, and they will get hot once you turn them on very, very fast. So if you want to start shaping the light beams using some of these shutter elements, I want to use some of these knobs in order to change their angles. For example, right here in the back. Pointing them up or down or left or right, interacting with them. Again, use these oven mitts all the time because otherwise you burn yourself quite severely with these light sources. Let's move over and take a look at our dimmer packs on the floor. And then in the final step also, let's take a look at our interactive lighting panel in the back of the room. So here's one of our 2 dimmer packs. Before you start working with it, make sure that it's turned on. There's an on-off switch here in the back, obviously. So you see if there isn't anything on the display, flip that switch on. And then you see that little blinking light here. This means that our lighting console in the back of the room is connected as well, and that it's already receiving DMX data that's going in. DMX is our control protocol that allows us to send data from our lighting console into this dimmer pack, and then from this dimmer pack to the other dimmer pack in the other corner of the room as well. You also see on this display that it says 001. This means that our channel 1 here is truly also number 1 on our lighting console in the back. So the internal numbering of these channels starts with channel 1, corresponding to number 1, 2 is 2, 3, 4, and so forth. That also means that channel 1 on our other device, that we'll take a look at in just a second, will actually be internally renumbered as channel number 5. So we can continue our numbering, and we can continue to control individual channels with a secondary or even a third or fourth dimmer pack that we can control to our system. These are all connected together using these DMX cables in the back here. There's one DMX cable that comes in from our lighting console and one DMX cable that goes out into the next dimmer pack. So they're kind of daisy chained together, and data is just being routed through them. If it realizes it's data for a channel that is not represented on this device, a channel greater than 4 will immediately push that data out to our next dimmer pack and then make sure that it gets to the right channel on there. We will learn much more about DMX, especially in the context of interactive light control, from Oren, who will give us a little workshop about DMX and how to use computers and software to generate this data and then to send it to devices like this, or DMX-enabled light sources like LED panels, for example. But that will be something for a little bit later in the semester. So let's take a look at the second pack over in the other corner of the room, and then conclude our workshop by looking at the control panel that actually generates the data that then these devices send as electrical voltage to our light sources. This is our second dimmer pack, and as you can see on the display, the internal numbering for this device starts with channel number 5. So number 1 on here corresponds to channel 5, number 2 corresponds to channel number 6, 7, and 8. That also means that if we use slider number 5 on our lighting console in the back of the room, we control number 1 right here, which is actually our blue light source. If we use slider number 6, we control the orbiting light source, which is connected to number 2 on here. Our control box in the back of the room only goes to channel 6, so unfortunately we can't control anything that is connected to 3 or 4 on this dimmer pack. All right, we have finally made it to the back of the room and can take a quick look at this lighting console here. You see that we have channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and a master slider on here as well. Of course, before you begin, it is always good to push up the master slider, because otherwise it doesn't matter what you do with any of these sliders right here, nothing will actually happen in your light design. So pushing up the master slider to 10 for now allows you to bring up channel number 1, which is your red light source, right here, or channel number 2, which is your green light source, channel number 5, which is your blue light source, and then channel number 6, which is the orbiting light source right here. Also, one of the things I should have probably mentioned in the beginning is make sure that the power is turned on for this device. There's a LED right here. If this is not lit up, there's a switch on the back of this device that allows you to turn it off or to turn it on and to start operating it. Finally, I just briefly want to talk about gels and how you can use them in order to create your own colored light sources. I have a few of these gels here in the back of the room, and feel free to use as many of them as you like and help yourself to them. There's also some gel holders and frames here. You would take your gel, slide that into the frame like this, and then you would basically just have to cut around the outsides and then slide that into your light source. These remnant pieces and gels that I have are by no means exhaustive, and they don't have all the colors, obviously, that you can get. But I have these little sample packs for you, and feel free to pick one up if you like, or also look at the color numbers in here, and if you find one that you really like and that you want to experiment with, you can actually go online, look for the Roscoe Lux brand, and then order the corresponding color that you would like to explore and you would like to experiment with. You should now have all the tools and all the skills basically to operate this room and to experiment with light and color and the interaction of different colored light sources. And I hope this will lead to some new explorations and some new ideas for you, and I'm already looking forward to seeing what projects will come out of these explorations.